Welcome to the deep dive. And you found your Big Brother's Holy Shockers deep dive, the one built from your ideas and questions. So today, let's maybe talk about what the Sunday service.
Yeah.
We're digging into a really surprising bit from Genesis chapters 2 and 3.
Oh,
They're basically asking, did God lie? Because the setup seems pretty clear. Genesis 2.1, CNN, God warns Adam, you will surely die. But then, Genesis 3.4, the serpent slides in with, you will not surely die. And Adam and Eve eat, and well, they don't drop dead, physically anyway. Their hearts are still beating. So what's going on here? Our sources must have something to say about this apparent contradiction. It's quite the puzzle.
it really is. And what's fascinating, looking at the sources, things like, the ancient Hebrew analysis, early theological takes, is how they tackle this head on. Their bodies didn't just collapse, no, but something absolutely fundamental inside them shifted, changed. This wasn't about biological life ending in that moment. It was something much, much deeper, a spiritual thing. Some sources even describe it as like worse than dropping dead.
Worse than dropping dead. Remember how, okay, so not literal, immediate physical death. Our deep dive suggests this death God warned about was more like a spiritual fracture, a separation from his presence. How did that actually look right after it happened? According to the sources, what were those first signs?
Yeah, the immediate signs are key. It's
Yeah.
about being cut off, fundamentally,
Yeah.
from the source of life, that intimacy with God. The moment they ate, you see shame appear suddenly and fear. That's why they hid, right? That wasn't just physical hiding. It was a reaction to this sudden internal break.
The hiding.
Shows a profound loss of connection, definitely loss of innocence. That essential link, God and humanity, it was shattered.
That really reframes it. It's a powerful distinction. And how did this spiritual shift then, lead to what we think of as physical death? Because they didn't die instantly, but the sources seem to connect this spiritual event to, well, mortality entering the picture. Exactly. That spiritual disconnection, that separation, it introduced a whole new reality for humanity. So, while it wasn't an instant physical death sentence, mortality itself became part of the human condition because of it. Physical decay, returning to dust that all flows out of this initial spiritual severance. It was a huge, transformative event. Changed everything.
Okay.
And this brings up the core point. Our sources are pretty clear God didn't lie. He warned about this incredibly profound spiritual death. The consequence way bigger than just, falling over dead.
Right. So boiling it down for us, what's the big takeaway here beyond just understanding Genesis better? This deep dive seems to show the death God talked about wasn't heart-stopping, but this deep spiritual disconnection, losing that vital link, a massive shift in how they existed.
It really was. And it certainly challenges the simpler interpretations you might hear, doesn't it? Which kind of leads to a final thought, maybe for you listening. This way of understanding warnings and consequences, these profound non-physical changes, how might you apply that kind of insight, maybe to other complex stories or even things in your own life, where consequences might run deeper than they first seem? Makes you think,